are
We are live.
live.
We are live.
Excited
We may
to be live.
we may not look like we're paying any attention right now,
Yes.
but here's what we're doing. We are creating a watch party.
Ooh, yes. We don't want to.
And
Hold on. Wait to say that because I actually want to make an announcement with that. So go to share. Go to the video. Go to share.
well, I don't have the video yet.
And then
I see nothing.
refresh.
Oh, hold on. I think I'm getting there.
I
Did you already do yours?
I did.
Really?
I'm the best, man.
Well, you know,
I am the best. Welcome, everyone. We are so excited that you are here.
Hello, everybody.
We are just getting.
I'm still working on my.
technology
Oh,
thing.
look, right there we are. Okay, and then I'm going to hit share.
There you go.
And start a watch party.
And
Start watch party.
that's
Your
all
watch
you gotta
party is
do.
about to begin.
yeah, because I want to share with everyone as everyone gets in here, like
That's
right before we're starting about.
Awesome.
Pull out your phones. Might as well do a watch party, but.
Yeah. Oh, hold on.
You can turn off the volume.
I got the sound on. And it's
There
kind
you
of,
go.
It's not good. So
Welcome, Jason. Hello, Tammy.
Hello, Jason.
Tammy, hello. I haven't seen you in a while. Tammy Atwell's here.
Oh, Tammy, how are you today? That's good. She can't answer us. In case you're wondering, I brought a treat.
You brought a treat.
Have you ever had a cowtail?
I have.
Do you like them?
I mean, I don't not like them. I'm just shocked that they've survived.
Really?
Those things have been around for a long time.
I love these things.
Yeah, Josh Colburn loves them too.
Yeah. Well, I got him started on them. And I'm gonna have one. It's been in my pocket for a while.
He tried. Hello,
But
Kevin.
that's
Hello,
okay.
Kelly.
Yeah.
Welcome to the party. Welcome to C3 Live. We are excited that you're here.
And we are being produced again tonight by the one and only Trevor Grimeau.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Exactly.
Yeah, Bruce got sick, and so we had to call in who is now becoming
Do you want part
our
of this?
top dog. I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
I don't blame you.
What are they called?
Cowtails.
Oh, cowtails. I was like cow tongue. That's all I was
No.
saying. See, and then on my watch party, hello Ian, hello Evan, hello Jay, hello Kevin, hello Lydia. All that fun stuff. Very
look,
good.
Sam
very good.
Green, all the way from Ohio.
Sam
He's joined.
Green. Hello, Ohio. Michigan's better, but that's okay.
No, he's a
Glad
big
you're still
Buckeye
here.
fan.
Oh, you're a Buckeye fan?
He is a huge Buckeye fan.
Go blue, baby.
Oh, man.
Go blue.
Well, if you're just joining us and you haven't been on one of these, we just kind of kill some time, like we do things like eat cowtails and things like that, until
I already ate my Butterfinger.
a few more people join, and then we actually get started. So that's kind of what's going on here. If you're bored and think, is this all these guys are going to do for the next 25
Honestly, if we had it our way, maybe. But we want to actually share something new that we just started doing today, and it's called Start a Watch Party. If you are watching on your phone or your computer or your iPad, or that's really the only place you can watch C3 Live, but if you're watching right now,
You know what's really weird?
What?
I hate to interrupt you.
Yeah, interrupt. There wasn't
But,
anything
there's
important.
a delay as I'm watching myself eat this cowtail. It's
You
really,
are.
it's
You
really
are.
strange. Okay, anyway, go ahead. I'm
Anyway,
sorry.
so if you are watching right now, what you can go ahead and do is go to the share button, press share, and then it brings up some options like share to page, share and comment, just share. And then at the bottom of that, it says start a watch party. And if you start a watch party, all it means is you share the video, and then it shares automatically to your profile, so then all of your friends can watch with you. It's like
Yep.
kind of setting up a movie. So Brad and I both right now are watching on our phones because we
Yep.
both have Facebook friends that haven't liked Crossbridge, but are able to watch on our phone. So I've got 20 people on my phone right now.
You have more
and all
friends than
that
I do.
stuff. I do.
I think I've got 7.
It's 7?
Yeah.
Well, I said 20.
Jim Webb.
It's more like
Can you believe that
17.
You don't even know Jim Webb?
I don't,
Hi,
but
Jim.
hello, Jim.
Good seeing you.
Hello, Josh. Hello, Kim. Hello, Jody.
Yeah.
We are excited about tonight
Yes.
because, well, I'm excited because I get to ask Brad the brain teaser. Right now, I think it's brain teaser time because it's 8:04. It's been 4 minutes.
Absolutely. Let's do brain
Yeah.
teaser.
So right now, kind of the theme to kick off our intro every week is to do a brain teaser back and forth.
And no one has gotten one right yet.
No one has gotten one right yet.
But tonight's the night.
Score 0-0. It is the night. Okay. Last week, Brad gave me a somewhat easier question.
Right?
And so I felt like I'd give him a question that was more up his alley.
Softball.
Right? Softball.
Yeah. It's a soft. It's easy to hit.
Like a slow pitch softball.
Slow pitch softball,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, this might be a fast pitch softball.
Okay, very good.
All right, because it's so difficult.
All right.
Brad, what did you used to do before, I guess you would call it vocational ministry? What did you used to do?
I own a landscape company.
You owned a landscape, not just any landscaping company, but a pretty successful landscaping
It
company.
was fairly successful, yes.
It was, yes. And we still do some side
Yeah.
landscaping here and there.
Yeah.
Brad actually just asked me to join his side landscaping
I needed
business
someone young
before
that could
there.
actually do
So,
something because I'm too old for this stuff anymore.
Yep, he might regret that decision. And we'll talk about it in the C3 Live after we
Yes.
do it. Anyway, so I decided to pick a landscaping question for you. There are
Awesome.
50 states in the United States of America.
Correct.
Correct? All right. And I'd bet that all of them, minus most of Alaska, does some form of landscaping.
Sure.
Okay? Which state, if you want to be a landscaping designer,
Mhm.
which state do you want to go to based on business opportunities, money, and company growth to be a landscaping designer? Which state?
The obvious choice is California.
Okay.
I'm going with California.
That is incorrect. That is a top 10 answer, though.
Wow.
It is
It's probably something
closer
like Idaho.
California.
Probably.
It's close to Idaho.
Really?
I
Like I know my
think-
like I know my geography.
Oklahoma,
No.
based on 2017 poll,
Seriously.
there are the most business opportunities right now
I am not
for
moving to
landscaping
Oklahoma.
designer. I'm just saying, if you ever, I guess Idaho. Where is Idaho? Is Idaho west?
I think it would be north of that.
Okay, so I was close.
Someone's going to
I was
correct us. You know
close.
that.
Someone is. Nicole, Mick, Jody, hello. We're
Hello,
excited
everybody.
that you are here. So
Well-
we're still 0-0.
There you go. Still 0-0. I've got a great one next week for Brain Teaser. I can't wait. Okay, here's the deal. My name is Brad Maddox, and I am the outreach pastor at Crossbridge Community Church. And this is my sidekick over here. This is Jordan Chitwood. He is the young adults pastor here at Crossbridge. And we are always excited to get here on Thursday nights and do C3 Thursday Live and talk about different things.
Yes, we are excited. Last week we kicked off a new series where we are going through our mission statement and our core values. Last week we explained a lot. You know, a lot of churches, a lot of different denominations, they have faith statements or different list of beliefs that they all abide by. Even some denominations require that if you want to be a member of the church, that you sign a faith agreement statement. A lot of universities do that as well. And we don't really have that here at Crossbridge. You don't have to be a member to attend Crossbridge or to participate or volunteer. But we do want you to know what we believe and what we are
Right.
about here. So we have core values.
Yeah, and the cool thing about these core values is even if you're not a part of Crossbridge, you're just out there. These are great values for anybody following Jesus.
Yes, absolutely.
And so we're just going to jump in, and I'm
Yeah.
going to read our core value number 2. And here's what it says. It says, we will live life in relationship. Your journey should intersect and impact other people's journeys, even when it's messy. Interconnecting your journey is the best way to make a positive impact in your community and world. So there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
And so last week when we were talking about these core values, we were talking about a lot of next steps. You
Right.
see, because our mission statement, transforming lives by helping people take next steps with God, all of these core values are aligned with a next step that is required of us to continue to take, whether it's small, large, you
Right.
name it.
And no matter where you are in the journey,
Exactly.
no matter where you are, whether we said last week whether you're new to to believing or just say I don't know if I really get all this God stuff or even believe it all. There's a next step for you to take. If you've been following Christ for decades, there's always a next step for you to take.
Always.
And we are always on a journey. God is writing a story, and we get to choose whether we're part of that story.
Yep.
And so, living life in relationship is to us is the only way to live life.
Yeah.
You need that community around you to get through life in general.
Yeah.
Whether you're celebrating good times, whether you're going through a tough spot, whether you're just in a spot where you don't know if you're going to make it from day to day, having a group of people around you that's in that journey with you, in that fight with you, means the world.
Yeah, and so this is our core value number 2, as we talked about, was relationship. We truly believe, you see Jesus who called the 12 disciples and made sure that as he was walking and as he was doing life together, that he was doing life with people, growing, taking next steps, performing miracles, pursuing everyone, because there are just parts in this life, as you hit on, we can't do alone.
No.
Most of life we can't do alone.
And it's kind of ironic that here we are on Facebook because this culture is leaning more and more away from it. It's because you still can have a relationship, even
Yeah.
social media wise, but there's still something about one-on-one group of people meeting together, and that's
Yeah.
why we believe this is a great avenue. We love this. One reason why we're doing this with social media is to broaden the base that we can impact and talk with.
Yeah.
But there's still, no matter whether you're here in town, and attending Crossbridge, or whether you're out of town, out of state, wherever someone might be watching this, being connected into a local body of believers, local people who are just doing life, is absolutely crucial, we believe, for taking those next steps and getting through this thing.
Yeah, and it's crucial for two reasons. And those two reasons we're going to show you in two different verses that talk about relationships. The first verse that we want to read tonight that goes with our core value number 2 is from Galatians chapter 6, verse 2. And Paul writes this to the church in Galatia: "Carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ." And I want to actually move on to the second verse before we break those both down. The second verse comes from Proverbs, written in the Hebrew Bible, from chapter 27, verse 17. And this is the second side of things. It says this: "As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another." And so we've got two different examples of why relationships are so important. First one, dealing with suffering, dealing with grief, dealing with trials, tribulations, where Paul writes to the church in Galatia and says, hey, carry each other's burdens. You can't do this life alone.
No.
Carry one another's burdens, walk with each other, grow with each other, all of that. And then the second part of this equation that influences our core value is iron sharpens iron, so one person shall sharpen another. And that is where we are, when we're doing life together, when you and I are pushing each other, motivating each other. If one of us is struggling in our faith walk, then we can carry each other and help each other out, and then say, hey, did you go pray? Did you talk with God? Do you need to process some stuff? Even in our sermon prep.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we're constantly meeting with each other about different sermon ideas and stuff.
Yeah, and running things by each other, and to the point of, hey, can I say this?
Absolutely,
Or can
yeah.
I do this? And it is a matter of am I thinking straight here? Even
Yeah.
am I off base? Where do I need to rethink this, or what is another way that I can present this that may make sense to more people?
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I was just reading actually for sermon prep that I'm teaching this weekend about calling each other out.
Yeah.
Paul makes it very clear that we are, we get all hung up on this. Well, we're not supposed to judge. We're not supposed to do this, but we are to call each other out when you see somebody straying, when you see somebody doing something that you're questioning. And we have to do it in love, obviously.
Obviously, yeah.
But still, and that's part of that iron sharpening iron.
Yeah.
Us getting better at what we're doing, how we're being called, and where we're heading.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine being on staff somewhere, whether it's at a church, whether it's at a corporation, a gas station, whatever it might be. If you want to see your organization grow, it comes down to leadership from the top down, making sure that communication amongst everyone is solid, making sure that people are pushing each other, growing, following the standards, exceeding the standards. Even after we do a sermon on Sunday, we always go upstairs and then hear Bruce or Brad or myself say, hey, if you word it this way, or if you fix things,
Right.
even just between services, and that can be stressful at times, because if you think you just killed it,
Yes.
and then you go up and you hear,
Man, I crushed it.
know?
Hey, have you thought about Yeah.
Exactly, but it is so cool. So what is it in your context? I want to just pass this question off to you, wherever you're watching, whatever you're doing. Who is that person in your life, that individual, family member, friend, coworker, boss, mentor that you have that you can do life with in a relationship?
Right. And it takes some vulnerability to be able to
does.
do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the first part of that verse too, and we talked a little bit about this, but carrying each other's burdens.
Yeah.
And, we see that all the time, especially, again, way culture is, way life is right now. It's just tough.
Yeah.
And we see people struggling in all kinds of ways, from addictions to relationship issues, you name
Marriage,
it.
finances,
Everything. And you need those people to be able to come alongside of you and help you carry those kind of burdens, because someone has been through it before.
Yeah.
And there's no reason for you to do this thing on your own.
Yeah, and the hardest part of that can be allowing people to help
Yes.
you out.
Yes.
And it can come from a control side. It can come from a fear side, from just letting people get too
Pride.
close. Pride, exactly.
You know.
It really is a call for humility to say, hey, I can't do this on my own. God never built me to do this on my own.
Exactly. And we've all, and the funny thing, we've all been there.
Yeah.
Now, and you may be saying, well, my life is really good right now. Man, everything is just great. And I'm just going to tell you right now, sooner or later it's going to suck.
Yeah. It is inevitable.
Yes.
That eventually.
Jesus himself said, you are going to have troubles here.
Yeah.
And we are, if everything is going smoothly, I would kind of ask yourself, what am I doing wrong?
Exactly. Yeah. How comfortable am I living? But yeah,
Exactly.
that's our core value of relationship. Brad, why don't I read our third core value? And then we got some more verses and stuff that we're going
Okay.
to talk about. But our third core value is purpose. And it says this: we will pursue our purpose. As individuals and as a church, we are created with a unique, God-given purpose. Part of the journey of growing in our relationship with God is discovering how he designed us for that purpose and then living in the joy that it brings. Purpose, core value number 3, one that I think all of us, most of our life, struggle with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we try to figure out, how many times you try to figure out, well, what's God trying to tell me to do?
Yeah.
What am I designed for? Why am I here?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter how old you are, whether you're just starting out, you're old and decrepit like me, or you
I
name
wasn't going to say anything.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. But it's one of those things. And I tell you what, we are huge about this here at
Yeah.
Crossbridge. We want people to live in their giftedness. Because I love what it says there at the end here. It says, he designed us for that purpose and then living in the joy
Joy.
that brings. And if you find somebody who has really figured out how they're designed,
Yeah.
how they're wired, what their spiritual gifts are, and they are living in that, I'm telling you what, watch their lives, and they have this unexplainable joy in their lives, and they can get through anything. They may not be living the good life. It's not that, they may be having struggles, may have issues, but they're able to navigate that, what they're going through, because of they know they're where they're supposed to be.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you can easily see from the outside looking in when somebody is not pursuing their purpose, not living in what they're gifted at. It's a lot harder to do when you're the person searching or settling or living in comfort. But Paul does write, some pretty powerful
Right.
stuff to give us some tools as to how we are wired, all of that stuff.
Right.
So
And
there we go.
it comes out of First Corinthians chapter 12. We're going to be reading verse 12 through 18. Verse 12 starts like this: just as a body, though one, has many parts, but all its many parts form one body, so it is with Christ. For we were all baptized by one Spirit so as to form one body, whether Jews or Gentiles, slave or free, and we were all given the one Spirit to drink. Even so, the body is not made up of one part, but of many. Now, if the foot should say, because I am not a hand, I do not belong to the body, it would not, for that reason, stop being part of the body. And if the ear should say, because I am not an eye, I do not belong to the body, it would not, for that reason, stop being part of the body. If the whole body were an eye, where would the sense of hearing be? If the whole body were an ear, where would the sense of smell be? But in fact, God has placed the parts in the body. I forgot where I was there. In the body, every one of them, just as he wanted them to be. If they were all one part, where would the body be? As it is, there are many parts, but one body.
Yeah. And what we see there is Paul breaking down, because he's writing to the church in Corinth, a church that is struggling with identity, struggling with idolatry, immoralities, different sins and lifestyles, and basically just saying, hey, you might feel unqualified. It's probably because you are, but guess what? You are still gifted, whether you are the arm, whether you're at a gas station, whether you're sitting behind a desk, whether you're out on football fields, whether you're on stage, whatever it might be. You have gifts. Use them.
Yeah, and I think it's so sad because I think so many times we think of people who are sitting in the seats on a Sunday or when we're teaching something, and they don't feel worthy.
Yeah.
They don't feel like they have something to contribute. They don't feel like that I am worth anything that I can give back, and that is so false. No matter where
Yeah.
you are, no matter what you're struggling with, no matter what your past looks like, God can use you
Yeah.
in in a variety of ways, and you are needed.
Yeah, God uses the unqualified to do the unfathomable all the time.
Absolutely.
The unworthy to do the magnificent. Like that is who God called as his disciples, as his followers, all of that fun
Yeah,
stuff.
and as you look at the disciples and things, and if you really study what they did and how they acted, I mean, they screwed up a ton.
They got it wrong more
Mo-
times than they got it right.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing. But and that's all about finding your purpose and figuring out how. Talk a little bit, Jordan, about some of the ways that we do that here at Crossbridge of
Yeah.
figuring out how you're wired and things like that.
Yeah, you see, because the struggle becomes when you come here on Sunday mornings and trying to figure out, okay, well, I work behind a desk Monday through Friday. How am I able to, I'm an accountant. How am I able to use, my talents, my gifts, and is that ministry? Can I still be a part of the kingdom of God and all of that stuff? And what we start to do is first, there's a few personality tests that we love to do. One is the DISC test, DISC. And with our Next Steps pastor, Kim, she loves walking people through that. But if you are sitting here on Sunday morning and you're feeling that urge, like, I feel like I'm not fulfilling my purpose. I feel like my job isn't giving me opportunities. God, what am I good at? What am I bad at? What am I gifted in? We love helping you figure that out. So first step I would encourage is say, hey, if you feel that tug, meet with Kim. We meet with the pastor who will probably direct you to Kim. And the first thing we usually do is have you take a DISC test or have you take a personality test and say, you see, actually, as you are working with numbers, that's not where your gifts stop. And in fact, you can use what you are good at, what you're wired at, whether it's numbers, whether it's science, whether it's history, whatever it might be, to then help other people figure out what they're good at as well.
Right.
And so, yeah.
And part of that DISC test, you'll find out, am I a people person? Do I like being around people? Am I the party kind of guy? And so that's going to be a different serve than what somebody who, as you were saying, like what would be considered a high C, a detail person, an accountant type of person, things like that. And so that really streamlines things. And the other thing, there's some bleed over in this, even in relationships, your marriages and things. It's one of the first things we do when we do premarital counseling is have them take a DISC test to see how they're different and how they're wired and how they're going to work together.
Yeah.
So that's huge. Spiritual giftedness. There's some spiritual gift tests. You can find them on the web. We do them here, all kinds of places, and finding out again how God has gifted you to work in the kingdom is absolutely huge.
Yeah, so based on conversations or different tests, different books, pointing you in the right direction. Once we figured out how you're wired, because that really is what it comes down to. How am I wired? You see, for the longest time, I grew up believing I was an extrovert, and I had no idea why. I love people, I do.
Right.
But I had no idea why at the end of the day I was always so drained and
exhausted.
And sophomore year, I finally took a test on how am I wired, introvert versus extrovert or ambivert, and I came out ambivert, which is a mix of both, but I'm 75% introverted and like 25% extroverted.
Right.
And when you figure that stuff out, it helps with peace. It helps with joy. It helps me realize, okay, I've got to set up boundaries with different people.
I was just going to say that gives you the opportunity to say, okay, here's my boundaries. I can be with people so long, and then all of a sudden, and I've watched you do this is you withdraw.
Yep.
Which is healthy.
Yep.
You get by yourself, get re-energized, and come back in for the fight.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you wouldn't be able to do that. You may burn yourself out if you didn't realize that and figure that out.
Yeah.
And here's the other deal is we as a church, we need everybody. And I am one of those people that believe that you are called to a church. That if you're in a body, no matter where it is, you have something to offer. And when people aren't engaged, when people are just what we, the society would say is a consumer, people who just come to church, they say, hey, I've checked it off the list and now I'm going to go out. You're doing a disservice not only to yourself, but to that movement, to that church that's supposed to be out there making a difference in the kingdom, making a difference in your community. And we limp along. If you're a foot and we don't have you, in the ministry and doing something there, then we're going to limp.
Yeah.
And we're not going to be as effective or as good of reaching people for Christ if you're not in the game.
Yeah.
And it is absolutely crucial.
Yeah, and when you start, there's two things. When we're starting to limp, putting pressure on other areas of the body, then as Paul writes about, says the rest of the body starts to suffer because of it.
Absolutely.
So if you aren't using your gifts, if you are stuck in a career, like this is one of those questions that as you hear this, you're like, oh, great, here we go again. We're hearing the question of either my job, like what am I called to give up, my job or my money or my, whatever it might be,
Right.
but it's the question that's so important. Like if you are limping around, you're causing the spiritual body to limp around as well.
Yeah.
And God is desperately waiting for you to finally take a step towards your purpose,
Right.
so that the whole body can continue to move. And the second piece of this is of all of this is what we do at CrossFit. Once we figure out how you're wired, we want to get you involved serving in those gifts. We have so many opportunities here in front of the scenes and behind the scenes.
Right.
You might be like, I don't like people. I don't like being out in front on the stage. I don't like greet. I don't even like shaking people's hands. We have slides, we have tech, we have prep work throughout the week, we have gardening, mowing, all of this stuff that goes on.
Right.
Where people that aren't necessarily those that you might see on Sunday mornings, the body of Christ could not function
Right.
without them.
Absolutely. And there's a couple things, serving is absolutely huge. And and someone might be out there saying, well, here they go again. They just want us to, volunteer. They just want us to serve. And that's true. And there's, but here's the thing is my closest friendships right now are people that I serve with.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for that, I would not have these guys that would absolutely die on a hill for me.
Yeah.
And so if you want to build a relationship, you want to get connected, man, that is the way. Serve somewhere. And then the other thing I want to say is we want you to serve in your giftedness because that's where you find the joy. Mm-hmm. That's where your passion is, and it revives you. It doesn't drain you. But there's also two kinds of serves we always warn people about, is that we want you to find your passion, and that's where we want you to serve. And it may be inside of this place, and it may be out in a non-for-profit or another ministry somewhere else, and that's great. We have no issue with that whatsoever. Find where you're called to, and serve there. The other thing is there's just some serves around here that have to be done.
Yeah.
No one likes to wash dishes at home.
Yeah.
But it's a job that has to be done. No one likes to fold laundry.
Yeah.
I hate to fold laundry, but it has to be done. And so there are some times that, we're going to serve outside of our passion because it has to be done, and it's part of being the family.
Yep.
And so there are some of those. But again, we try to find where you're wired, how you're wired, where your giftedness is, so that you can serve in that joy, and it'll fill you up. And it's so much fun to watch when someone gets it and finds out where they're best gifted.
Yeah, and the last piece of all of that, just kind of wrapping it up, is once you are willing and ready to take a next step, okay, and whether it's taking a test, whether it's meeting with Kim, whether it's, okay, I know how I'm wired, I'm ready to start serving. Your initial instinct is going to be, let's jump all in right away and go 100 miles an hour.
Right.
That can be as damaging to yourself and the body of Christ as it is beneficial as well.
Right.
And so it's really important. This is why these core values all connect. It's really important that as you have that third core value of finding your purpose, that you then have relationships and people, that's what Brad was hitting on, that help monitor, help walk with you, that can then call you out if you are burning out or overworking or getting stressed. And if you see it starting to affect your mental stability or your stress levels, your relationships outside of work or outside of what you're passionate about, then that is also something we've got to be cautious on as well.
And we look for that, and we actually pull people out of ministry.
Oh, all the time.
And we say, hey, you need to step back.
Yeah.
You need to take a break. You need to get yourself healthy.
Yeah.
And not that you're doing a bad job or anything, but we just see that in you, and man, let's just take some time off.
Yeah.
Get yourself back into the right place, and then get you back into serving again.
Yeah. When I was in 9th grade, I was coaching soccer here at C3 Sports.
Yep.
It's the only time I've ever coached soccer. Bless you people that love soccer. But I was coaching soccer, and at the time is when I started really struggling with anxiety. And I remember my dad, and I was serving, I was out here roughing games. I was out here coaching. Halfway through the season, my parents pulled me aside and said, hey, Jordan, we know you're really good at it. We know you love it, but we're pulling you out of soccer because we see it affecting your health outside of this. And it broke me. It wrecked me. I hated being pulled out. But at the same time, looking back, I am so grateful for when people have stepped in. Just the other day, Bruce noticed I was anxious. And I was just in my office, and he came in and said, hey, just slow down. Take a breath. What you're doing today doesn't need to get done today. Let's just take a break right now.
Yep.
So Yeah, hey, that is so important. We are so grateful and excited that you have joined us today as we looked at core value number 2 and 3. Next week, we are going to be wrapping up this 3-week series looking at core values number 4 and 5. And then we've got something special planned for week number 4 to just kind of do something different. If Bruce doesn't, isn't able to make it, I think it's his creative week. We're going to have Trevor be our third person.
Awesome.
If we bring a third person. So that might happen.
You never
it
know.
might not. We
You never
can't
know.
promise. But this Sunday, Brad is preaching for Aftermath at 9 and 10:30. You will be able to see that on live stream and then also catch it live if you are here. We would love to invite you to Crossbridge to come check it out. This is the final week of the series, and then next week we will kick off a new series called Paper Tigers. And so we are excited about that. Hope to see you Sunday. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great rest of your evening, and good night.
See ya. I need another cowtail.
Need another couch.